think the topics that were covered were fantastic. I think maybe it'd be good to break them down to a more narrow perspective because it was very, very broad today, and I'm not sure. I think as we go forward, we're going to need to break it down into maybe more regional specific issues to really solve some of these problems because solutions aren't universally applicable across the U.S. I do feel there's a need for a national framework, especially on the side of financing water utilities and water rates, and the issue of whole cost pricing and transparency in water utility budgets. I hope to see for America's water public support and recognition of the real issues that face the infrastructure in this country. The U.S. in part is such a great place because of the abundant supply of water and a high degree to which it's treated and it's safe. And that's being threatened by climate change, by extreme weather events, and by aging infrastructure. And then the lack of real funding that's needed to make sure that that infrastructure is maintained and to a level of service that ensures safe drinking water for everyone. I think the single biggest major obstacle for addressing those big issues is funding and revenues. Somehow we got to the point in this country where some politicians have equated raising water rates to taxing people. And we need to separate that out because they're really two different issues. And a lot of studies show that people are willing to pay more for safe drinking water, and it will cost more to maintain the level of service that's needed in this country. The biggest sector that was missing in today's discussion were representatives from the agricultural space. They use 80% of the water, and in order to come up with a sustainable water future for America, they need to be part of that discussion, not just from the water supply side of things, but a lot of the big issues relating to water quality have to do with runoff from farms and nutrients that are causing toxic algal blooms around the country. And so really the ag and water industry need to work together to solve these problems. Well, I don't know what avenues need to be taken to engage the industry. I imagine reaching out to begin with. I'm not sure what reaching out has already occurred. Maybe that's happened. It's maybe doubtful. I think the other area that really wasn't included here was maybe the political arena. In order to really get the funding that's necessary, to get the regulations that's necessary to have a sustainable water future, it will be imperative to get the regulatory agencies, the political entities involved in this as well. I know a lot of congressmen are interested in a topic, and so I would begin with reaching out to the congressmen and getting them involved in this that do have a vested interest in ensuring there's adequate water supply and safe water for constituents. Ultimately, the White House needs to back all this. I think they had a water summit earlier in the week, and that's a great step forward. Interesting, they cut funding to the state revolving fund program at the same time of that, so I'm not sure where they fall, but ultimately, all levels of politicians are going to have to get involved, I think, from state regulators, state politicians, up through EPA, congressmen, and the White House to have a real national program. The most important takeaway to me is the enthusiasm with which everyone that was here participated. It was really great to see people from all different sectors involved in today's discussion, from the finance industry to the representatives from water companies to consulting firms to general citizens that have a real concern over the future of water in this country.